haberdasheries, Batman.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, well, that's just like, your opinion, man.
The Hateful Eight was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino, and it stars Samuel L. Jackson, Kurt Russell, and Jennifer Jason Leigh. Now, I know what you're thinking, and you're saying to yourself,
Hateful Eight just came out. Why is this one of the underrated flicks reviews?
well, Don Knotts, it's because I don't believe this movie got the praise it deserved. It was even panned by some. There's one review out there where the headline of the review says, too long and too Tarantino-y. Really? Are you freaking kidding me? Too Tarantino-y. A movie by Quentin Tarantino. That being said, let's get into this. This film takes place shortly after the Civil War. On his way to deliver a bounty, John Ruth the Hangman and his newly picked up company take shelter from a blizzard in Minnie's haberdashery, with a crew of some very sketchy fellows. The thing is, one of these fellas is not who he says he is. And mystery and tension ensue. It's much like a certain board game. A certain board game that I'm not going to bring up in this review, because it's been brought up in plenty of other reviews, and I have no intention of bringing up said board game. Now let's take a look at our hateful bunch. Samuel L. Jackson plays Civil War vet Major Marquis Warren. This is yet another classic Sam Jackson character by Quentin Tarantino. He is one of the most interesting in a cast full of very interesting characters. And his performance is just, it's flawless, man. It is flawless. He has a scene between him and Bruce Dern where I was just hooked in. I think this performance could, match Jules from Pulp Fiction. It's that good. And Kurt Russell plays John Ruth the Hangman. When the hangman catches you, you hang. I swear, this dude was like made to be born in the Wild West. But thankfully, for our entertainment, he wasn't. Everything he said just flowed, and when he talked, you were so engaged, even though he was a major jerk. And that mustache, though. And Jennifer Jason Leigh plays the woman he's aiming to hang, Daisy Domergue. She gave the performance of a lifetime, playing this very sleazy, vile woman. I am very surprised she didn't get Best Supporting Actress for this movie, because it was an insane performance. And Michael Madsen plays Joe Cage, the cowpuncher. And I mean, you get what's advertised. You know, he's Michael Madsen as a cowboy. It doesn't really get any better than that. And it was just really fun to see him in a Tarantino movie again. Bruce Dern plays General Sandy Smithers. And Bruce Dern is just one of my favorite old men. He plays the grumpy old man in the best of ways. And he really held his own against these, like, modern day classic actors. Walton Goggins plays the maybe Sheriff Chris Maddox. You know Walton Goggins. I am almost certain you've seen that face. He pretty much plays every fun, crazy hick in every movie. But he does it so well. Demian Bichir plays Bob, the Mexican. He was like an over-the-top stereotypical Mexican, but in the greatest of ways. I loved him so much. From him trying so hard to play Silent Night on the piano, to just him introducing himself.
I'm Bob. Do you want some stew, Opie?
Tim Roth plays Oswaldo Mowbray. His name pretty much sums it up. Tim Roth just plays an over-the-top British dude in this movie, but compared to everyone else in this flick, you know, all these gritty Western guys, it was a nice little balance. He was kind of like a Christoph Waltz character in a Tarantino movie, just this eccentric, over-the-top dude. And I have to at least mention James Parks as Obi. He's not in The Hateful Eight because he's not hateful. He's just this really nice guy who's put in the middle of all this crazy tension, and you feel so bad for him. Like, I feel like I would be the Obi of that group. Just watching all this crap unfold, and then bad things keep happening to me. He's a fun character. And this movie is Tarantino in his stride. Too long and Tarantino-y? Screw you. I mean, seriously. Sure, it wasn't groundbreaking like Pulp Fiction, but not every single movie he does has to be something like Pulp Fiction. The man just knows how dialogue works. I mean, there can be 10-minute long scenes of just two characters talking, and I was so hooked in. Everything in this movie was so tense, even on the second viewing of this movie. Remember the pub scene in Inglourious Basterds? Like, the tension between all of those characters throughout that just gruelingly long scene, because you knew something was gonna happen. It's like a movie filled with that scene, but in different ways. And it was so good. And it's like almost a 3-hour runtime, just taking place in this haberdashery. But it never feels 3 hours long. The runtime does not affect me both times I watched this movie. Which is a lot more than I can say for Batman v Superman.
Hey, shut up!
And throughout this movie, you never really know who to trust. Your opinions on each character changes vastly as the film goes on. Which is another thing. All of the characters in this movie are just as iconic as Pulp Fiction characters or Reservoir Dogs characters. These are all perfect, iconic Tarantino characters. Each character was very well established, and you feel like they lived in this world. You feel like beyond this movie, they were a person in this world that could have had their own movie. Which is a lot more than I can say for Batman v Superman.
Stop talking about it. Just don't bring it up.
Now, I will say, with the story in this movie, like the last act of it, it does have a little bit of a tonal change, which turns some people off. But because it's Tarantino, I think he pulled it off really well, honestly. Now, a really amazing feat for this movie was it was shot on Panavision Ultra 70. And I think Sam Jackson could explain it just a little bit better. So Sam, take it away.
Well, here's what makes 70 millimeter so glorious. The movie is shot in 65 millimeter, then projected in 70 millimeter, with an image twice the size of what you're used to, which will make your enhanced viewing even doper. Ultra Panavision is the widest format there is. Ultra Panavision. When you absolutely, positively got to wow everyone in the room, except no substitutes.
Now, this is the 11th film of all time to use this type of filming. It used the same exact lens that was used in filming Ben-Hur. That's amazing. That's just crazy awesome that someone's still ballsy enough to film something on that. Now, this type of camera and lens are typically used for like really long shots of landscapes, environments, you know, big open action scenes or big open just beauty shots, which there are a few really good landscape shots in this movie. But some people were complaining that this movie didn't need to use that camera because it mostly takes place in this little haberdashery. But the thing is, it was perfect for that type of movie. Because the lens was so wide and you could see so much on the screen, you could see all of the little performances going on. Because Tarantino made sure that you kept tabs on characters he wanted you to keep tabs on. With my watching of it on the Blu-ray, I noticed little things that I did not notice the first time because I was looking for them now. And there are little subtle performances that kind of give things away, but not really, and you don't notice it until the second viewing. And I'm sure I'll see more things in the third viewing, because there's so much to look at, and there's so much little bits of tension to see in this film. My only regret in life is not seeing The Hateful Eight more times in the theaters. Usually Tarantino never uses original scores. He just takes different songs that he's heard from different movies, or just songs, and he puts that in the movie, and that's what makes up the music of that movie. But in this film, he got a master to do his score. The great Ennio Morricone did an original score for this movie. And if you don't know who Ennio Morricone is, he did The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Yeah, that guy. So it's a pretty good score. It gives you that feeling of tension, that Also, Ennio Morricone won his first, actual Oscar. That wasn't an honorary Oscar for this movie. So, it's a pretty good score. Overall, this movie just makes you feel like you're in the cabin with these guys. It's a cozy movie. You know, if it's raining hard outside or it's snowing and you just want to cuddle up, watch a movie, this is the movie to do it with. Granted, it's a pretty messed up movie at times, but still, it gives you that feeling of just, you want to warm up, you want to get in a blanket, watch this movie, and just enter this world for a few hours. I'm going to give The Hateful Eight a 9 out of 10. It would be funny if I gave it an 8 out of 10, because Hateful Eight. But the movie's better than that. And if you didn't catch this movie in theaters, it's out on Blu-ray now. I picked it up at the midnight release. Well, it wasn't really a midnight release. I went to Walmart at midnight and picked it up. They looked at me like I was crazy. But look at the case. Look at that. It feels good. It feels nice. It opens up like that. And it's really cool. Even though it doesn't have that many bonus features. Like, I would really like it to have a lot more bonus features, but it's a 3-hour movie, so I'll let it pass. You should also check out my little videos, Netflix picks. Something new I'm doing. Just these short, quick videos on movies to check out on Netflix. Anyway, thank you again for watching, and as always,
Watch movies, my friends.